Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Conmutalo AIP. Today we're going to look at how to install the Yeastar IP PBX software on Ubuntu or Debian using an ISO that can be downloaded from the website. First, we'll go over the server requirements, which depend on the number of extensions, 1 to 19, 20 to 40, 41 to 69, and 70 to 130. Here are the requirements. It doesn't take much. The machine just needs an i5 processor, 4 GB of RAM, at least 50 GB of hard drive space, and for recordings, you'll need to consider additional storage. Here we proceed to install it using a bootloader called Rufus. We download it directly from Google, install it on a USB drive, select the drive, and choose the ISO file you've already downloaded, which you'll find at this link. The direct download link should open for you. If you want to select the ISO of your choice, I'll leave this page here in the description. Here, choose between Ubuntu or Debian, either one will work. As a recommendation, you can use the Ubuntu version. Once you've downloaded the ISO, add it. You can leave the partition as is for MBR or BIOS. When you click Start, it will begin formatting the drive to load the system. Next, we'll boot the machine from the USB. Enter the BIOS using F12 or F2, depending on the machine. Once inside, change the boot settings located under the boot options and set the USB as priority 1. When you start up, the system will boot from the USB drive. When installing it, the screen asks whether we're going to use the entire disk or just a portion of it. As a recommendation, you can use the same ISO in a virtual machine and select Use Entire Disk, since it asks how many gigabytes you'll allocate to it from the start. Here is the recommended amount of memory for swap and what is required for the root and home directories. Once you've selected the memory space, this option should appear, asking if you want to proceed with the operating system installation. Click Yes. When the installation begins, the system will reboot. Upon rebooting, you must remove the memory stick for the installation to continue. Once it finishes, it will prompt you for a login. By default, when the system starts, it will boot into the IP range 5.150. You must switch to this segment from your computer in order to access the server. For credentials, we'll log in with the support username. It will indicate whether the firmware version is this one or a later one. We'll use this password, and if the version is 8.3.0.18 or earlier, simply press the Enter key to access these options, which is where the Yeastar server is already running. Additionally, if the option appears to configure the server via DHCP or a static IP address to keep it within our network segment, select the appropriate option based on your preference. After these steps, the operating system will be up and running. By accessing it via the web using the IP address and port 8088, we'll reach the panel to complete the installation, just like the one shown here, where we'll configure settings such as date, time, etc. Finally, once inside the interface, we can enable the SSH option to set a password and access the console using the password we define. Let's move on to the topic of the Cloud PBX. If applicable, you'll receive an interface just like this one in your email at the time of purchase. This is Yeastar Central Management. From here, under the Cloud PBX tab, you'll deploy the various PBX systems for your users. The Devices tab is just for your reference. It's an interface where the PBX software would appear if we had any running on Ubuntu or Debian. Now, let's proceed to deploy the PBX. We'll go to Cloud PBX, select the PBX option, click Add, and fill in the information. We'll add a name, keep the Enterprise option selected, and configure it for 5 extensions and 5 concurrent calls. We're setting it to 5 extensions here because, remember, that's the minimum required to enable the Cloud PBX. Call recording remains enabled. For the region, we'll select a server near our location. I'll choose the one in California. We'll add a domain, which can be the company name, and it will have this suffix. Here we can select the PBX version. We'll choose the latest one. We'll leave it as commercial. We'll fill out the customer information, which are the parameters we define for sending. Via email and deploying the PBX, we'll add a name, the name of the person who will receive the PBX access credentials. We'll add the company and the email address. These are the only important details. Click Confirm, select the Save option, then click where it says Start PBX, click Confirm, and send the email. We wait for an activation email to arrive. We should receive an email like the one shown here, which says welcome, displays the name, lists the version and plan, and includes the PBX URL. We'll copy this URL. Next, we see an activation code. We open the URL, paste the activation code, click confirm, and will be redirected to the installation options, which is a basic installation. We'll enter the PBX username, add a password. We recommend using a strong password. Add an email address and contact name, click next, select our time zone, click next, and download the voice prompts. If we want to change the language the PBX uses to respond, we can select Latin American Spanish. Here we select the language for notifications, we leave the rest as default, click next, scroll down the tab, and click restart, click yes, wait a few minutes, and we'll be automatically redirected to this tab. Log in with your credentials. When the system starts up, the contract will appear. We can read it, click to confirm we've read it, and click confirm, and now we have access to the PBX itself. From here, we can see the creation of extensions, extension groups, incoming routes, outbound routes, etc. Step by step, we'll learn how to use this Cloud PBX. That's all for this video. Without further ado, I bid you farewell. That's all for today. If you liked the video, you know what to do. Leave me a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss any videos. See you next time.